I am a Yank in Sussex. And now for everyone's favorite subject, history. As I mentioned in part 1, Sussex has been the name of this piece of land for only about 1500 years, and was named by the Saxons, who came after the Romans abandoned Britain around AD 410. But before that, people had been living in Sussex for many thousands of years, both before and after the last ice age. During the late Stone or Neolithic age, from around 4000 to 1700 BC, these people dug flint mines in the chalk formations of the South Downs, such as these here at Harrow Hill and Sussex Ring. Harrow Hill's mines have been determined to have been operating until about 2200 BC, a period of about 1800 years. A survey taken in 1994 indicated something like 245 mine shafts. Sussex Ring's flint mines were initially dug a little later, and there are somewhat fewer mine shafts, but seem to have been in operation until around 1700 BC. These mines produced high-quality flint that was valued highly enough that flint tools made from them have been found as far away as Italy. Whether that represents a robust and extensive trading network, or someone from here went to there, is anyone's guess, of course. And then came the Bronze Age. Now it's called this because this was the archaeological period in which bronze was the hardest metal in widespread use. The earliest bronze artifacts so far known have been found on the Iranian or Persian plateau and date back to sometime before 4000 BC. But knowledge of bronze metallurgy, or as they say in England, metallurgy, took a couple thousand years to reach the British Isles, and it wasn't until sometime around 2000 BC, give or take a couple of hundred years, that it began to come into more widespread use here, although flint remained in common use in the British Isles until around 1500 BC. Just in case you were wondering what bronze is, it's an alloy of mostly copper with certain other metals, such as arsenic or tin, added to it to increase its strength. Back in the Bronze Age in Britain, however, it was an alloy of copper, with anywhere from 5 to 20% of tin, depending upon who was making it and where they were located. Tin is not a common metal, as it turns out, but Britain was fortunate because there was a lot of it deposited in Cornwall and Devon in southwest England. Of course, the advent of bronze metal working around 2000 BC made flint mining and working mostly obsolete, so the extraction of flint gradually tailed off. The people living here now did their work, and their fighting, with more effective tools made of metal, such as these socketed axe blades, swords, and other items. There are a number of Bronze Age sites in Sussex, including these major sites: the Devil's Jumps and Bow Hill, which are both burial mounds, and Highdown Hill, both a hill fort and a funerary site. Highdown Hill is the traditional burying place of the kings of Sussex. By around 700 BC, the Bronze Age in Britain gave way to the Iron Age, which of course was characterized by the making and usage of iron and steel weapons and implements. Sussex Ring becomes important again because of the hill fort that was built upon it as the Bronze Age was on its way out. It's noteworthy enough to need its very own video, which I will create in due course. Another hill fort to the east of Sussex, the one called Devil's Dyke, appeared at around the same time. See my video describing Devil's Dyke, for which there is a link in the description. The Iron Age in Britain was also characterized by the arrival of the Celts, who may have brought the first iron with them. We don't know much about the peoples who lived in Sussex before the Celts arrived because they left no written records, and no one else wrote about them either. But neither is there much information about the Celts, and for the same reason. Of course, the Celts didn't drive out the previous inhabitants, but ruled over and mixed with them. And by the mid-400s BC, Celtic culture was the dominant one in Britain. The Celts of Britain became distinct enough from their cousins on the continent that they might best be described as Britons. There was a large number of these British tribes in Great Britain, and in the land that was later called Sussex, the dominant tribe was the Regni, or the Regnenses, as the Romans called them. The prevailing historical theory is that the Regni were a branch of the Atrebates tribe living northeast of Sussex and Surrey, and they were in turn a branch of the Atrebates who originally dwelt in what is now the Artois region of northern France. The Romans first came to Great Britain en masse in 55 BC during an invasion attempt by Julius Caesar. He had justified this invasion because he believed the Celts in Gaul, whom he was attempting to conquer, were being supported and supplied by those in southern Britain. He was probably correct, but his efforts to subdue the Britons failed. It wasn't until nearly 100 years later that the Romans again turned their attention to the Britons. The conquest of Britain took about 40 years, beginning in AD 43 under Emperor Claudius, although at various times there were attempts to subdue the Scots north of the line of fortifications that became Hadrian's Wall. They eventually gave up, and so the Roman occupation of southern Britain was largely completed by AD 87. When the Romans took over, they ruled in many cases with the help of the existing British rulers. One such ruler among the Regnenses of Sussex was Togedubnus. Because of his loyalty to Rome, they recognized his authority as an allied king and built him a Roman-style palace in what is today's village of Fishbourne. His capital was nearby at Noviomagus Regnorum, which is modern Chichester. For his loyalty to Rome, he was given Roman citizenship, and his Roman name was Tiberius Claudius Togedubnus, indicating that he may have been given his Roman citizenship by the Emperor Claudius. His palace is the largest Roman residential building ever discovered in Britain. Its many superb mosaic floors dating from this period make it exceptional. Much of the palace has been excavated and is preserved along with an on-site museum. The rectangular palace surrounded formal gardens, the northern parts of which have been reconstructed. I should note here that there has been some disagreement between historians about the correct spelling and pronunciation of Togedubnus' name, because one ancient Roman document spelled the name with a C, as in Cogedubnus. You'll find the name being spelled in two different ways. However, no Celtic names in Britain have been found that use the root Cogi, but all others started with Togi, so that's what I'm going with here. Given that Rome controlled the southern half of Great Britain for over 300 years, it might be noteworthy to consider the Roman remnants to be found in Sussex. Besides the Palace of Togedubnus at Fishbourne, there are a number of other remnants. The Bignor Roman Villa is a large Roman courtyard villa near the village of Bignor, which has been excavated and put on public display. It's well known for its high-quality mosaic floors, which are some of the most complete and intricate in the country. Near the village of Iping, there is an unexcavated rectangular earthwork along the Roman road between Chichester and Silchester. It's a couple miles north of Iping and is the remains of a Roman station, or mansio, that would have served as an official staging post, covering about 2 acres and able to support messengers, small forces, and other official traffic passing through with supplies, repairs, and other essentials. This road, which passes through the site of the mansio, is of course part of the old Roman road system. There are the remains of a number of other Roman roads, especially the one called Stane Street, or Stone Street, which runs from London Bridge in London to Chichester in Sussex. There are additionally many short stretches of road in Sussex that are thought to be parts of the old Roman road system, such as this residential street, called in fact Roman Road, in the town of Stenning. The extent of Roman culturalization can be seen from the evidence of Roman buildings and roads that are scattered everywhere, if you look carefully enough. 323 years of full occupation is bound to leave remnants. These are the Roman baths at Aquae Sulis, now within the modern city of Bath, in Somerset. Pun intended, I guess. Note that the structure above the level of the pillar bases is a modern reconstruction of the original. These weren't the only Roman baths in England built at a hot spring, but they are the most prominently known today. Of course, the Romans loved baths, and where there were no hot springs, such as in a villa or a manor house, they were artificially heated. There are many obvious structures, such as this Roman lighthouse, Hadrian's Wall, and Old London's city wall. And of hidden and buried structures there can be found a number of Roman villa remnants, such as the Palace of Togedubnus near Chichester, and this villa at Chedworth in Gloucestershire. There are no doubt others which remain to be found. But another important indication of Roman occupation is the distribution of Roman coin findings throughout England and Wales. This would give some idea of economic activity. This map shows the density of such findings. These represent only those coin findings that were uncovered from 1997 and 2010. There have been many more before and since. As an example of a major coin hoard finding, we have the Chalgrove hoard, which was discovered in 2003 in Oxfordshire. As you can see, there are quite a few of these findings within Sussex itself. The three largest discoveries in Sussex include the Shoreham hoard, consisting of 4,105 silver and silver-bronze coins. It was discovered in 1999, contained in a pottery vessel, and was emplaced by its original owner sometime around AD 274. Another is the High Weald hoard, discovered in 2006 near Burwash in East Sussex. It consisted of 2,894 silver coins and is on display at the Brighton Museum and Art Gallery. A smaller hoard, found near Patching in 1997, consisted of 23 Roman and Visigothic gold coins, 27 silver coins, 2 gold rings, and a number of pieces of scrap silver. There were plenty of smaller finds, as the coin findings map shows. Drilling down into Sussex's own Roman history, it can be seen from this map that there are a great number of archaeological remains from that period. From the precisely straight roads beloved by Roman engineers, to the mancios along those roads which were the official rest and resupply stations for official traffic, a number of tile and pottery kilns, ironworks in the Weald, an area which supplied iron ore all the way into the 19th century, by the way. The villas belonging to important or wealthy Roman and Romano-British citizens. Temples to one or another deity. And the one important fortification, which the Romans called Anderetum, at Pevensey. After the withdrawal of Roman authority around AD 410, the inhabitants of Great Britain south of Hadrian's Wall remained more or less culturally Roman, although of course with an original Celtic flavor. Politically, however, things began to become very confused. Various British kingdoms of various names rose and fell during this period. Some vanished because their names changed, and some were absorbed by others. Not all of their names are known, nor are the details of their political development. Some authority structures left from the Roman period may have continued to govern in some areas for some time. At times, some of the kingdoms were united by a ruler who was an overlord, while wars occurred between others. There were about 14 major polities, and many more minor ones. Because of the power vacuum, it was a time of cultural falling back. The quality of goods declined, and written records became scarce as the quality and availability of education declined. It's difficult to pin down a timetable, but between 410 and 550, there was a series of incursions by some North Germanic tribes. The history of this invasion, which was more a migration, is complex. It didn't consist of a clearing out of the Romanized Celts, though some, of course, migrated away from their homes as these Germanians, as the Romans might have called them, came to ascendancy. That's how there came to be a population of Breton-speaking Celts in today's Brittany in France, the Bretons. Formerly called Armorica, this is where many of the legions removed from Britain were stationed, and many of the troops were Britons anyway, and thus it was easy for displaced Celts to move there. By 550, Anglo-Saxon rule was established throughout much of what eventually became England. The English geographic names Essex, Wessex, Sussex, and East Anglia reflect their rule. Along with Mercia, Northumbria, and Kent, these 7 kingdoms, sometimes referred to as the Heptarchy, comprised the bulk of the political landscape of England for around 450 years. Sussex's modern boundaries correspond roughly to those of the ancient kingdom of the South Saxons, which according to legend at least was founded by the Saxon leader Ela in AD 477. This is likely a myth, however. It lasted as an independent kingdom for about 350 years, with occasional periods of domination by either the West Saxons, the Danes, or Mercia, until 827, when it was finally and completely absorbed into the kingdom of the West Saxons, or Wessex. Eventually, Wessex itself merged with Mercia into the kingdom of the Angles and Saxons, ruled by Alfred the Great in the late 800s. Finally, in 927, all of England became united under one ruler, Alfred's grandson, Aethelstan. This Anglo-Saxon kingdom of England lasted for less than 100 years, however, and even then, because of depredations by the Danes under Canute, there was a 25-year period during which Danes were on the throne. And then finally, in October of the year 1066, as every English schoolchild knows, the Norman-French Duke of Normandy, William by name, invaded and defeated the last Saxon king, Harold, at Hastings in Sussex. Because of this conquest, he was later called William the Conqueror. This video has covered the history of Sussex up until the Norman invasion of 1066. There's more to come, but for today we'll conclude on this note. This video is part 2 of What is Sussex? Part 3 will continue the history of Sussex, starting with the aftermath of the conquest. Stay tuned. This has been a production of A Yank in Sussex. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button. If you haven't already done so, feel free to click the subscribe button along with the notification bell in order to be notified when new videos are posted on the channel. May you have a very nice day.